It was supposed to be a luxury waterfront condo resort and marina. Instead, the Bahama Island development turned into a boondoggle that caused scores of people to lose their retirement savings and landed the two main partners in the deal behind bars. Today, one of those two, developer Jeff Shoop, is serving 88 months in a federal prison for misappropriating the depositors' money. But before he began serving his sentence in August, he sat down with me to tell his side of how Bahama Island failed.
I went out of my way to not cause harm to another. And I'm literally going to jail for something I didn't do.
That's not the way attorney Randy Mullen sees it. Mullins represents more than 60 investors who lost millions of dollars when the project collapsed.
Mr. Shoop may be trying to shift blame to someone else, but in a court of law in federal district court, when I was present, he pled guilty and was sentenced by a court of proper jurisdiction.
Jeff Shoop and former partner Tommy Hicks planned to build Bahama Island here along the Intracoastal Waterway. In 2005, they began selling pre-construction condo units, some of them costing well into the six figures, and they collected about $7 million in deposits. The pair thought they had approval for $60 million in bank financing for the project, but Shoop says the bank they were working with pulled out of the deal before construction began. Suddenly, the two men found themselves desperate for financing. That's when Tommy Hicks found a real estate financier from California named Dwayne Woods, who claimed he would be willing to put up $100 million for the project. Shoop and Hicks made an agreement with Woods to finance Bahama Island, and Shoop says Hicks wired the depositors' money to Woods, about $6 million worth, as collateral for a loan. And then, Shoop says, the two developers waited impatiently for Woods to complete the deal and allow the project to get started.
Days go by, what's going on? You know, what is happening? We got customers screaming when's construction starting. Tommy says we have one final deal to meet our requirement.
But there was no final deal. Weeks went by. He says Woods kept putting them off. Some of the condo contracts expired, and Shoop says Woods actually gave some of the early investors their money back. But the project never got started. Woods stopped communicating with Shoop and Hicks in 2007. Federal investigators believe Woods took off with much of the depositors' money and may now be in Europe. An arrest warrant was issued for him by U.S. Magistrate Shiva Hodges last month. There are rumors that Woods has had plastic surgery to change his appearance, and these days it's hard to find a picture of him. Shoop claims he and Hicks were duped by Woods.
They have found that he's done this to other people. He has taken money and schemed other ways to take money from developers and has left the country.
But no matter where Woods is now, the depositors' money is gone. In 2008, Shoop and Hicks were charged in a federal crackdown on mortgage fraud, with prosecutors claiming the pair used some of the depositors' money to pay themselves and cover expenses not related to Bahama Island. Both men pleaded guilty late last year. Today, Shoop blames his problems on Hicks, whom he says was in charge of the whole project, brought Dwayne Woods into it, and made Shoop the scapegoat when Woods took off.
Mr. Hicks threw me under the bus, caused harm to as many people as he could, knowing that they were defenseless against the federal government.
Hicks cooperated with authorities and got a lighter sentence. He is serving 44 months in a federal prison in West Virginia. Through his attorney, Hicks declined to comment on Shoop's accusations. The attorney representing the investors says the bottom line is that the two developers, Shoop and Hicks, are responsible for the loss of the investors' money.
Well, we think the evidence is going to show there were some questionable expenditures that Mr. Shoop and Mr. Hicks engaged in. In particular, there was a jaunt through the Caribbean that looked like they had a very good time.
Like many others, Mullen says he would also like to know what happened to the elusive Mr. Woods. But in the end, Mullen says Shoop and Hicks were supposed to be protecting the depositors' money, and they did not.
People lost life savings. People lost their children's and grandchildren's college funds. Elderly people had to go back to work.
Real estate analysts say there is little that investors can do to protect their money if they give it to a developer who commits fraud by not safeguarding it in an escrow account. Mullen says people do need to be cautious before investing, but the real estate industry could also do a better job of policing itself.
We can't have the general public, and especially people from out of state, thinking that everyone down here is dishonest and they can't give us our money. The real estate industry here needs this blight removed from it.
Mullen says at this point it will be difficult to get any money back for those who lost their savings in Bahama Island. In North Myrtle Beach, Joel Allen, News Channel 15.